Hello everybody, and welcome to another tutorial on how to draw wild animals. Before we start, of course, if you could subscribe, that would be excellent. Thank you very much. And also, ring that little bell icon if you want to know what's coming up next. Okay, well, the wild animal today is an elephant. And I'm going to sketch in the kind of rough shape of it first of all, and then I'm going to do a pen drawing on top of that. Okay, so the actual shape of the body, I want you to imagine a rather large peanut. Okay, so you have the end of the peanut coming here like that, and a dip in the middle, coming up to the other side. And this side, a bit narrower than that side there. So it's a rough kind of peanut, or a bean shape more like, isn't it? More like a bean shape, like that. And from this part here, the head comes down. So imagine that curve there is the forehead, and extend that down to the trunk, like that. And some graceful tapering towards the end. Okay, and just at this point here, where it joins the body, you have the tusk appearing in there like that. To a point, other one appearing about there. And just above that line there, about there, okay, you have the eye. Again, draw the eye like that, or the curve. Slightly hooded eye. Of course, elephant has lots of wrinkles. Okay, very characteristic of this animal. And if we go to the top of the head now, we can get the shape of the boniness, if you like, of the top here coming in. And then as it goes across the back, we have the kind of lift, a bump there, and that's the shoulder coming down over that curve that I talked about. Okay, and just across from here, we have the ear beginning. It comes down in almost a straight line to that, and then sharply back to almost a point, and then back and almost not to join that bit of the head there, and the other ear appears just there. Okay, and below this tusk here, again, you have lots of wrinkles coming up, and you probably see the lip hanging down like that. Now, if you extend that line along there, that's the chest. And of course, if he's moving his leg, you get wrinkles, and on the side of the belly there. But just about here, you have the left leg. Now, one thing that a lot of people make a mistake on when they're drawing elephants is that they make the legs too short. In fact, elephants are quite long legs. And at this point where it joins the underside, you can just see what would you regard as the elbow. If these were arms, that's your elbow coming down. And as the elephant's leg is bent, it bends there at what would be the wrist. And of course you have the great splayed out foot like that. The other leg comes in here, and this is more or less straight. I want to draw that moving across like that, down to the knee shape. Not the knee shape, rather, that would be the elbow shape again. I beg your pardon, the wrist shape, because the elbow's up here, of course. Come down to its other big splayed foot there. And the back legs kind of mirror your own legs. What happens is, start about here, and again, great folds of skin. But this here would be like a knee joint, coming down like that. The leg is lifted as the elephant is walking. Again, nice big splayed out foot. And then more folds under here. And its back leg coming in like that. Great tree trunks of legs. Okay, down to splay out to its foot there. And then its tail. The back end of the elephant actually comes more of a point actually, just about there. And that's where you would see the tail appearing. Quite a long tail and quite thick at the top, getting a lot thinner then, of course, a kind of very hairy bit at the end. So there roughly is the shape of the elephant moving along. And of course, it can move along very quickly. So if ever you see one heading towards you, get out of the way. Of course, now this elbow shape, as I said here, will continue to create wrinkles running up just behind the ear there. So you get that kind of shape of wrinkles coming in here, and then more wrinkles coming up there, and underside here, as I said. Moving on to the head now, we have the characteristic wrinkles of the trunk. So you get these curves, probably doing that kind of thing there. As you draw with a pen, by the way, you'll draw these curves like that to join up with your wrinkle lines there. But I'll just put the wrinkles in very quickly just now, like that. And of course, on the back as well. And a few more up here. Wrinkles in here. And there's a kind of line there. And then the ear itself seems to kind of fold slightly. So you get that slight fold there, almost like a tablecloth hanging from his head, like that. Okay? And you'll get these lines coming from the center, radiating out to the back of the ear like that. And of course, these lines under here, because it's, again, this knee shape is pushing forward, you get wrinkles on the stomach of the elephant coming in like that. And of course, wrinkles on the leg. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is get a pen, and I'm going to go over my pencil lines, and then I'll start to do a little bit of hatching and line work. Okay, I have a fine point pen now, and I'm just going to go over my pencil lines with the pen. And again, don't use a continuous line so much. Try and make it a bit more expressive, especially as you come down here, and we're going to draw the little bumps which constitute the edge of the wrinkles as they come down the trunk there, like that. And you try to get that kind of wrinkle feeling to your line. And then you can smooth it out a bit as it comes to the end there. Okay, and this bit comes around there. And what you can do with a fine tip pen, you can actually take the weight off as if you're using a pencil and get a lighter line and put the weight on and get a heavier line. Okay, that's the task coming in. So I'm just going to carry on doing that. Try and be sensitive to the lines that I've drawn all the way around, you know, work on the eyes and stuff like that. And you get nice big eyelashes, elephant, so put in eyelashes, and then the kind of wrinkles around the top of the eye there. And underneath, give that very ancient oral weedy look about it. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing that and indicate very lightly some of these wrinkles that I mentioned earlier. And there's a lip coming in there. Okay, and once I've done that, I'll maybe put a bit more line work in. Right, I'm just finishing off, going around the outline just now. Just continuing with the tail here. Like that, down to this bushy, hairy bit at the end here, which you can draw in by using lots of little lines to suggest the hair, like that. Okay, and as you can see, I've started putting in the kind of wrinkles on this big, hairy chap's body. So if I continue doing that, for instance, imagine the bone structure around here. There's a kind of bony part here. Again, I put it in quite lightly, but take the weight off my pen and get finer lines than I normally would get. And then around this side of the ear here, I could draw some parallel lines to suggest the shading, and also under here, like that, and a few more wrinkle lines coming in here, like that. And again, this elbow shape, pulling the skin back here, will create lots of lines just underneath the ear here, carving down towards the back of the leg, like that. And perhaps some wrinkle just under here, try and get the shape. You can also suggest, you know, the light and shade by putting in some cross-hatching if you like. At the moment I'm just concentrating on the lines where I might find the wrinkles. For instance, here's the leg bends here, and you get a wee bit of wrinkle there, and also around here. And at the back here as well. And these great big folds of elephant skin here at the back. Again, you could draw some lines following them down. And a bit of a curve here. Like that. And of course you'll get some other lines, wrinkle lines going along the back. Like that. Right, I think what I want now is to get a finer pen and just indicate where some of the darker areas are going to be. Okay, slightly finer pen now, and I can start to put in a bit more of the shading. Just above that bony shape there, coming right over to the ear. Maybe a bit of cross-hatching there to give it a shadow. And also in here, a bit of cross-hatching over those lines I've done. Like that, and also in this part of the leg. The cross-hatching there. And down here, a bit of a couple of lines around the curve. Like that, and also over here. And also underneath the elephant's stomach there. And a few more lines to suggest the curves come in. Oh, here, the curves of the great fold, the great wrinkles, as they come down towards the bottom part there. Okay, and the more kind of careful lines you do, the more wrinkled it's going to look, the more elephant-like it's going to look. Okay, so we keep on walking at that. You know, imagine the kind of roundness of the thickness of the elephant here. You can get the light catching this bulge here, and perhaps a bit of shading just along the backbone here, carving round, maybe catching the end of the back of the elephant here on the flank, and a few more curves come around the elephant like this. You know, we can keep on working away at it. Darken this bit down slightly, and a bit of darkness under here, of course. Dark in there, and also the tail. You could take that down like that, and perhaps a bit more shading around the back end, like that. Okay, I've just been working on the fine lines a bit more, you know, following some of these wrinkles, making them slightly darker. Okay, I think that'll do fine. It gives you a nice sensation of this wrinkly pachyderm. There's one last thing. The eye I've left white here, but what I'll do is shade it in very lightly like that. Take that down a bit, like that. Okay, excellent. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you can join me again for another tutorial. But in the meantime, of course, all the best and happy drawing.